everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Get the Hell Out. And my name's Eric Olson, if you didn't know that already. And I'm joined, funny guy, Chris, funny guy. I'm going behind the tech guy here, Christopher. Would you say hi to everyone, Christopher?
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, he's really thrilled by that. My wife's behind the lens once again. So it's the three of us up here. And we just want to thank you for joining in and with this slow start and learning how to do all this stuff. And we're excited about it. So this week I wanted to take an opportunity to delve a little further and also just let you know that this is really hard for me not to go to a bunch of things at once. So if you think that there might be more that I'm not saying, it is absolutely the case, and I'm trying to hold back. I'm using everything I've got to shut my mouth about some things, but I think it's immensely important that we get and we comprehend the necessity of understanding what the Hebrew says and what it means, and understanding that we may have had a flawed view, a misconception of what the Bible is saying. So again, like last week, I was like worried that some of you are going to go, oh my goodness, Eric's falling off of the cliff. Nope, I believe Jesus is Lord. I believe that he is God and he came to earth, lived a sinless life, born of a virgin, crucified, dead, buried, resurrected, ascended, and glorified, seated on the right hand of God the Father, and he is our King. So if you can believe that, and I do believe that, then we have something in common, but there's other things that I think that we can maybe wrestle with. One of the premises I want to start with is the idea that weird things, stranger things in the Bible might not be there just as filler, but it might be there because it's immensely important, very important. And over the weeks, we're going to unpack that. So I want to do a brief review of the idea of what get the hell out means. So for me, in understanding that there is a bigger kingdom, there is a spiritual war going on. And I've always said those verbs and those words. I understand it, but I never really got it. It was just sort of like intellectual assent. I knew it in my head, but I didn't really understand it. So let's go to Psalm 82 once more. We're just going to start there just as a refresher in case you didn't see the first episode. But Psalm 82, a Psalm of Asaph, and we've got the English ESV version on top and the Hebrew on the bottom. So you can see in verse 1, God, Elohim, has taken his place in the divine council. In the midst of the gods, Elohim, he holds judgment. So here you have a Greek word for God where it refers that in the midst of gods, he holds judgment. And this isn't something that's like after creation. This is something that's before. And I'm going to build on that. And I can't connect all the dots in 30 minutes. It's impossible. But I'm going to build on it. So God, Elohim, has taken his place in the divine council. In the midst of the gods, he holds judgment. So there is a heavenly realm that God created, lesser gods. I always think of that Children of the Lesser Gods, old show, I think from the 80s or whatever. But that existed, that pre-existed, and that God created in his image. They're imagers of him just as we are imagers of him. He created them and he uses them much like he uses you and I as Christians. If you're a Christian today, he uses us not because he has to, but because he wants to. He delights in it. And it's something that's pretty cool, and we don't understand it fully. So that sort of can be weird to some people to think about God and lesser gods. Christopher, you ever had any thoughts on this?
I always, my phone was kind of the other gods on that one. Yeah, for this especially, I just lost my train of thought.
No, that's all good. No, for this, I mean, in this piece, it's not that, it's one thing to swallow on, but if we jump to the Ten Commandments, so in Exodus 20, we jump here, and I think this is where you're going with it. And God, Elohim, again, spoke all these words saying, remember, he's talking to Moses, he's on the mount, he's writing this on stone tablets type of thing. I am the Lord, Yahweh. If you see those words there, YHWH, that's Yahweh. If you ever look in the Old Testament and you see capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D, not the lowercase forms of these, but it's always, I believe, Yahweh. It's always there. So I am the Lord, Yahweh, your Elohi, which is a form of Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. So we know that story, right? God brought his people out. Here we go. You shall have no other gods. Look at this. Elohim. You shall have no other gods, Elohim, before me. Now, you mentioned your phone, right?
There you go.
You know, if you were in Sunday school and the teacher would say you shouldn't have idols, what were you thinking about, Christopher?
That's exactly what I was thinking about. My phone, my video games.
TV.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Not having the right outfit on, you know, that's a little bit legalism going on there. But, you know, it says here Elohim, and I never, until 6 months ago, I never thought anything differently. I just you should have no other gods before me. I thought of Tim Keller talking about idols. Everyone has idols. We do. We all have idols. But Elohim is different. And I just want you to see that. And it continues with sort of the importance of worshiping other gods or images. Because imagers, if we're imagers of God, he doesn't want a false image of himself. So he said, you shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them, right? So let's think about this a little deeper. Like, we can just continue to think about, I think about the Asherah poles in the Old Testament. I think of this fish god. I think of these different things. They carve things up. If you go to even in Africa or Haiti, you'll see a lot of images, and probably a lot of places in America too, to be honest with you. These things carved that are demonic or that are set for something else. You know, if you know that it is something to that, you're not called to worship that. But what I'm going to say that is, and I want you to get into your head that is not a carved piece of wood. That is someone real. It is a being, you know, in the end. It is an Elohim. It is the other gods. So God says really clearly, do not bow to them, serve them, for I am the Lord, your God, and I'm a jealous God, visiting iniquity on the fathers of the children, the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to those thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. So there's a if-then type thing. He's going to show love to those who keeps his commandments. So it's important that we realize we have an option every day. And if you've been around Oasis for a bit, you know that I'm talking about tree of life, tree of the knowledge of good and bad, good and evil. These are things that we choose every day, every minute. So in one sense, we get to choose whether we're going to follow God or follow the other gods. And the other gods lead us to hell on earth. They create hell for us. And frankly, we create it because we allow it. We choose that. And it's important that we understand that it is our choice to follow. Choose this day who you will serve. Follow God. Trust God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind. That was wrong. I was like, love the Lord your God with heart, soul. Trust him too, daggone it. Trust him. But it's just a thing.
It really adds some heaviness to it. Like, there's some weightiness to this now. Instead of don't worship your phone, it's no, those things are real. They're not just playing around.
Yeah, it's real and it's scary. You know, if God says to love your wife or to not say things bad or lie to somebody, there are things, there is an upside down, to use Stranger Things version of it, of things going on where we open a portal to hell and invite it to come in. Now, we know it already exists in this earth. We're fighting a kingdom battle, but at the same time, we allow every day, every minute we have the potential to open up that upside down and to allow bad things to happen. And all of us, all y'all online right now looking, all of you know that you've been affected by some way by decisions you've made or decisions other people have made. I alluded last week to a lot of bad things that have been revealed and happened. And I was just like, good Lord, what is going on? And then I realized, people choose, don't we, Christopher?
Yeah, we do.
And we choose to do things. We're like, you know what? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I was going back to an 90s song, I think. But we choose that, hey, it's okay. I can deal with a little bit of this. I can go and I can look. I've heard guys, especially in the military, who tell me, I know you're in the Air Force, Christopher, and it's like, hey, I can look, but I just can't buy.
Right.
Yeah, I can look at the menu. And I'm like,
don't touch.
Yeah, look, but don't touch, man. I was like, no. And I'll just tell you the story where I was with a Christian, and we were in Arkansas at a military school. He was a Special Forces NCO. I was just a nobody, right? And we became friends. We knew we were Christians. He was talking to me about Promise Keepers, and I was making fun. Yeah, I told him I was a promise breaker. It's just like, it's just like, but we went to the mall. And he was looking at sunglasses, and this very scantily clad lady was just flirting with us. And I'm just like wigging out. I'm looking at him. I'm like going, what you talking about, Willis? What are you doing? And he's like, and she's like, y'all should come to the club. And I'm just like, And she's like, we'll just dance. And he's like, he looked at me and said, where to go? I said, no, we're not. And he looked at me and said, my wife will be fine with it. I'm like, what? So I probably shouldn't say this online, but I'm like, look, let's go have a couple beers at the NCO club, and we'll talk, and then we'll decide after that. We went out. I pulled him away from that, right? And he went, and we talked, and he said, well, I'm going to call her. I'm like, you call her, tell me what she says. Like, I couldn't believe. I was like blind, and he went on there and he came back and he said, brother, thank you. I'd have really messed up. I'm like, duh. Right. But I was strong there, but in other things I've not been. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, I'm arrogant. I'm self-righteous, right? Because, hey, Eric's smarter than that. He's not going to go to that club. But other things I've allowed in. I've let my anger, I've let things go, that is bringing hell in, and it's things we struggle with.
Absolutely.
So we've got to get the hell out. So God says he's a jealous God. He's going to love us. He said, but we need to love him and obey his commandments. So you're out there in this virtual world. You've got to decide whether you're going to follow God or follow the other gods. And they're not idols as we view them. They are not your phone. They are not, your coffee or this or that and the other. They're real things.
I gotta say, you probably just lost half your audience with the coffee comment.
Dude, I love coffee. I have it every morning, man. I'm a believer. That might be a lower G God for me. I might worship it a little bit, but it does me good. But
it is very hard to turn off the Facebook.
Shoo, Facebook. Well, some of you enlightened people are just Instagram people or have, gone on to other things. But yeah, it's like Facebook, I'm sure gets a lot more hits than the Bible app. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we can go on and on about that.
One maybe?
Thankfully, Christopher and I are the only ones enlightened here. The rest of y'all are going to choose to get the hell in. And anyway, joking, obviously, I hope. So, here you go. You see that God says, don't have any other gods before him. It's important. It's big. And again, I'm holding back for other weeks for things to go deeper. But let's go to Genesis 1. You should know the Genesis story generally. You have an idea about it. You might have some preconceived notions. But we know that God made the heavens and the earth, and he formed all these things. And real interesting, quick thing, and I said it in church one Sunday, people are like trees. Whenever you see trees in the Bible, you see people, and on the third day, God made something, and then God made trees that bear fruit. And on the sixth day, God made man, people, he made something, and then he made people who were called to bear fruit. So just a little extra freebie in here. If you see trees in the Bible, you should know that they're talking about people, that trees are important, or that trees represent even the divine council setting. Again, I'm going to go too far, but let's look at this. So then God said, let us make man in our image. Christopher, what do you think about that? All your Sunday school years, all your years in Bible college, what did that mean to you?
Oh, that was the Trinity through and through. Father, yep. Son, and Holy Spirit. Us, yeah, let us. So God is, got this personality disorder where he's talking to himself, and I went with it. It's like it makes the most sense at the time. It's like, hey, let's just do this, okay? And I'm playing about that a little bit, but listen to the words. Then God, Elohim, said, let us, all right, let us make man, Adam, in our image. This is the imager piece. After our likeness. So you see this plural, our, us. Then it says, and then let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. Then listen to this, verse 27. So God, Elohim, created man in his own image. You see the singular? So God, Elohim, created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. So I want you to figure out this divine council setting. God sitting here with other Elohim, pre-existing the creation that we understand, looks and goes, let us make man in our image. So, hey, guys, let us go get pizza together in this room. And we're going to go get pizza. I said us, but then I buy the pizza, right? It's like I might buy the pizza, or you might buy the pizza, but it was an idea that I had if I bought it, but you all take part in it. Right.
So he was inviting everyone to be a part or a audience for it in the divine council. But at the same time, it switched in 27. So God created man in his, didn't say in our image. So God created man. So how would I say? So God created man in our image. It doesn't make sense.
No.
And in the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. So, there is more going on here in the Genesis story. There is not, there is the Spirit. It's talking about over the waters, God's Spirit, Ruach, over the waters, as my wife likes to say, Ruach. Yeah, I can't. Okay. You're going to go too far. But God's Spirit was there, but God is in his divine counsel, and he created this beautiful earth, and he said it was good. And I'm just going to drop a little extra something today. He didn't say it was perfect. Just want you to contemplate that. He said it was good. God said it's good. Think about it. If God created us perfect, if he created the Elohim perfect, then they would never have any inclination to do something else. Only God is perfect. You have to sort of let that sense or twist in your head a little bit. God is the only perfect one. He is holy, 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 Lord of hosts. You hear that host? He's the Lord of hosts. Think of divine council. Think Elohim. But he's the only perfect one. And other Elohim, and you'll see this later, other Elohim chose to do their own thing and go their own way, and he gave them over to it just like he gives us over to it. When we let the hell in, he lets us go for a while. Go play, go do your thing, because you're not trusting me. You're opening the portal to the upside down. I love Stranger Things. And actually, Dr. Heiser, who I've been reading a lot of, he wrote a book on Stranger Things. Laura, what was that called? Do you remember? Something living in the upside down, I think. But if you ever seen Stranger Things, it's interesting to view that 11, the girl, she was out of the world. She was sort of brought in, and she was the one that saved everyone. And it was, you knew she was saving somebody by the shedding of blood. Like when her blood was going down her nose, something magic was happening. Isn't that something?
That is something.
Yeah, and she was the one that she had to close the portal to hell, to the upside down, to save everyone. None of the humans could save themselves. No matter how strong the sheriff was, how manly he was, no matter what, it was only she that could do that. And it was, by the shedding of blood, you saw that.
Almost like somebody grabbed the keys of hell.
It was, yeah. Yeah, and they couldn't fight it. Was the little boy Will? Was it the one? Yeah, the one. Remember. I forget these names too. The little boy that thought he could stand up against the big one. He heard from his guy dating his mom, just stand up and say no. And he tried to do it, and he was overtaken by it because he didn't have the strength.
No,
he didn't have the strength. So much like that, we do not have the strength in our own.
There were some apostles that ran into that problem.
Just a little bit. And 3 people in this room, I think, are running that problem too, maybe.
Once or twice.
Yeah, once or twice. But, it's a beautiful story in this divine counsel that God, using heavenly beings, we see it. Once you see it, I promise you this, you won't be able to unsee it. It'll just grow more open to you. So by way of disclaimer, I want to say this to you once again. I am not going to ascribe to any of man's theological constructs in this podcast. It's not my desire. My desire is to look at what the Bible says, especially some of the strange things in the Bible, and make them not so strange. And here's what it did for me. During my season of pain and doubt and fear, it opened my eyes to the battle that's going on, the principalities and powers. And it made me realize that I am not alone and I have a choice. I can choose God. I can choose to trust him. We're talking about this in church, trusting God. I can die to myself, daily thing, die to myself. And then I can experience and demonstrate and be overflowing with agape love to other people. So every day now, I don't think I'm exaggerating. Every day, somebody annoys to spit out of me. Every day. I'm thankful that not everyone's like me. But when I sit and I think and I go, something else is at work here.
Yeah.
And guess what, Eric? Something else has been at work in you too at times. And maybe these people in the world are blinded to this demonic realm of lesser Elohim that are going around and having influence on our families, in our communities, in our church. I'm going to be talking about that down the road a little bit, the hell that's in church. So Christians need to clean up, and judgment starts in the household of God, and frankly, that starts with us individually, and then it develops corporately. So, that's probably just for now, that's all I'm going to talk about because there's a lot more to talk about next week. But if you can understand the idea of other gods, of us choosing to follow other gods, and the hell that it brings in, and that we have the power of the God, the perfect one, the holy one, who is the creator, not the created, we will be able to stand against the devil's schemes. And we will stop the gate from opening, and we can live a victorious life daily or not. So, love you guys. I hope you're having a great week. If you would, hit the old like button and subscribe. And we just thank you for your time. Have a great day.